my name is Samantha Blackman, and I want to talk to you about Tomb Raider. With the 30th anniversary of the Tomb Raider series swiftly approaching, now seemed to be the perfect time to look at 20 years of Lara Croft doing what Lara Croft does in her process of raiding tombs. While the primary focus of this video is the 2018 game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is, at the time of this recording, the most recent game in the Tomb Raider series, I think that it would behoove us to look back over the earlier games in the series. Like many female gamers in 1996, I was excited to see the release of the original Tomb Raider game that offered folks an adventure game protagonist that was not another brown-haired privileged white dude with a 5 o'clock shadow adventuring and murdering their way through exotic places. We're looking at you, Indiana Jones, and more recently, Nathan Drake. Unfortunately, what we got was a brown-haired privileged white woman of the same ilk. The only difference is that many of us were willing to ignore this fact and the fact that her tomb raiding was done in clothing that was not practical for the task, to say the very least. It is almost as if Croft is allowed to step into the shoes of her male predecessors because she is hypersexualized and ultimately becomes the object of the male gaze.
That's my interest. You could leave tomorrow. Are you busy tomorrow?
And for more than a decade after Lara Croft raided her first tomb, we continued our journey with Croft to find the lost city of Atlantis in 1996, steal magic daggers that transformed humans into dragons via human sacrifice in 1997, acquire the sword of King Arthur in 2006, and recovered the relics of Thor and journeyed into Helheim in 2008, all while wreaking havoc on in-game versions of real-world places like Peru, Tibet, Ghana, Kazakhstan, and Thailand. Croft left in her wake a trail of bodies of marginalized NPCs who served as stepping stones to her final destination. And all of this was ultimately justified because she bore the title archaeologist. 2013 brought the reboot of the Tomb Raider series by Crystal Dynamics, and with it the hopes that things would improve with the characterization or recharacterization of Lara. But that was not to be the case. The reboot brought us a younger and less experienced Lara Croft, who was infantilized and robbed of her agency as early as the announcement of the reboot, when, according to executive producer Ron Rosenberg, we are told that, quote, they're more like, I want to protect her. There's this sort of dynamic of, I'm going to this adventure with her and trying to protect her, end quote. And that because of that, quote, when you see her have to face these challenges, you start to root for her in a way that you might not root for a male character, end quote. Ironically, rather than getting a less violent and more vulnerable Croft, we get more of the same, with her destroying real and fictionalized places in order to save her friend Sam, who is the descendant of a Japanese sun goddess, from a violent cult, all while coming into her own as a hesitant tomb raider who vehemently declares that she hates tombs. Find a relic that granted immortality in Siberia while simultaneously struggling with her failure to redeem her father's name, and sees herself being painted with the same brush as him in the media, And finally, to find the lost ancient Peruvian city, start an apocalypse, and wipe out an entire village in the process. It is with this third installment that things have come full circle with Lara Croft, beginning her adventure in earnest in Peru, the same country where she started her inaugural journey in 1996. And unfortunately, as we will see over the course of this video, those marked as other in Shadow of the Tomb Raider also serve as tools to advance Lara Croft's narrative of colonization in the same ways that they have in the earlier games. While the decade has changed, Croft's quest for validation and journey to restore her father's reputation on the backs of black and brown bodies has not. Using the original Tomb Raider games and Lara Croft's practices of colonization as a lens through which to view Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we can argue that while these practices have been present in the series since its launch in 1996, the final game in the reboot trilogy extends the aspects of colonization into the very mechanics of the game itself, where you, and by extension Lara Croft, are asked to literally reach out and touch murals, tablets, and other artifacts in order to learn the ancient language and culture of a people through osmosis. Knowledge that no one, even their descendants, has been able to understand before. It is this touch, this mechanic, that I call Magic Colonizer Fingers.
Jonah!
Yeah, I'm here.
Jonah, there's a mural here. It shows a box. Inscription says, "The Silver Box of Ishal." That must be what's in the Hidden City. This is a Maya myth. It says the box will summon the god Kukulkan.
The creation god. Is that what Trinity's after?
Wait, there's more. Looks like a series of cataclysms. A tsunami, a storm, an earthquake, volcanic eruption.
So much for the god of creation.
Well, in Maya belief, Kukulkan is the god of creation and destruction.
The power in this mechanic, in the touch of these magic colonizer fingers, ultimately gives Lara Croft the right, and in her eyes, the obligation to do whatever she wants, regardless of the cost to the lands, cultures, or lives of marginalized people. And rather than seeing this as a practice of theft or appropriation, Croft sees this as her burden. A white woman's burden. She is the one who must save the poor brown people from themselves, their prophecy, and their beliefs, because she ultimately knows what is best for them. She is there to be their white savior. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the game where she takes that moniker most literally.
Gods are coming your way.
What have I done? Shit.
Lara.
Croft is so certain of the fact that she is right and entitled that she becomes a petulant child when challenged about the actions that she has taken and is informed that she has indeed created a mess and started an apocalypse that someone else must now clean up. It definitely harkens back to the characterization of her from 2013 Tomb Raider, where she is reduced to a whining child who literally whines about how much she hates tombs. She is very much Rosenberg's child who needs to be protected and who others need to be protected from.
Where's the silver box of Isha? Give it to me.
It's in a safe place.
You don't have it. It never occurred to me that you would just take. With this key and the silver box, we can remake the world without witness, cruelty. And certainly with none of this. But without the box, the apocalypse, the death of the sun.
You're lying.
Lara, you felt it when you took the key.
Tremors are common.
A tsunami is coming, and this is the first of many catastrophes you're doing!
You would have done the same!
God. Yeah. By taking the key, you set the apocalypse in motion. Do you realize the tragedy you have unleashed? The cleansing has begun. It falls to me now to stop it before it consumes us all.
Some scholars have even argued that Croft's hypersexualization and hyperviolence play into an image of her as dominatrix, and I argue that this depiction is used, by extension, to further play against any traditional or stereotypical ideas or ideals of maternalism. And when faced with a situation that is meant to draw out any maternal instincts that Croft might feel, she quickly moves past it and immediately recenters herself and her duty to save the people who are ironically dying all around her.
I was so worried.
I failed. Worse.
What do you mean?
Dominguez. He has the dagger. I lost it! After everything that my father went through, I gave Trinity exactly what they wanted! He'll use the box and the knife to remake the world!
To remake it into what?
I don't know, he thinks he can rid it of sin and weakness! A man like that, we have to stop him. It's all my fault.
We'll figure it out, okay? I promise.
No! We have to get to the hidden city before Trinity! We have to find the silver box!
Okay, but first, we're gonna help these people get to safety, and then we'll go after the box.
No one is safe! Not if he gets the box first! I have to go! I'm the only one!
You're the only one that can what? You don't know that you caused all this, Lara! Not everything is about you! These people need us here. We can do good now! Besides, what do we gotta go on? A riddle? We're gonna need more than pink fish and silver crowns to get to the hidden city.
Jonah, the ship's cook turned sidekick, is the Samoan man who often serves as Laura's voice of reason, and through his brownness, as proof that she and her privilege cannot actually be as bad as we are being led to believe that she is. The scene draws to a close. Croft looks out over the apocalyptic landscape that she is to blame for and thinks not of the people who are dead and dying, but of the duty and the burden of her whiteness. Croft does, however, seem to have some moments of introspection, and those tend to happen when she sits down at her campfire save points. But unfortunately, they always seem to end there. When she stands up and goes back to the action, she returns to her colonizing ways.
Jonah, I found Incan ruins, but I think the foundation of the temple is older.
Yeah, Abby remembered where she saw that symbol. It's inside the temple somewhere.
Great. Tell her thank you for me.
I'm right here. You can thank me by not breaking anything.
And almost immediately after, when she and Jonah find their way to their next site of exploration, they meet Abby, an indigenous woman and the de facto mayor and caretaker of the remote Peruvian village they find themselves in. And she tells Croft that she can thank her by not destroying things. And Jonah responds with a knowing, or perhaps nervous, laugh.
What is it? Lara,
What?
Abby said not to break anything.
I'm not breaking it. I'm restoring the original.
Lara enters the temple in front of her and goes about immediately destroying the mural in front of her with the same enthusiasm of a toddler bashing things with a toy hammer in order to fix it. It is her duty and right to do so, despite or to spite the wishes of the people who live there.
I'm a researcher, Lara Croft.
They'll be back. We must find safety. Bring her.
They're looking for an artifact. Some sort of box connected to a moon goddess.
Abby is not the only person in Peru suspicious of Lara Croft's motives. Once Lara and Jonah find their way to the hidden village of Patiti, they meet rebel leader and true queen of Patiti, Unuratu. They quickly learn that she is also looking for the lost artifacts that Croft seeks in order to save the world. As queen, she has been trained for her entire life to participate in the sacrifice of a god in order to power the sun and save the world. Her body even bears the tattoos that help remind her and strengthen her in her duty and birthright to be the savior of her people.
When the catastrophes come, the god Kukulkan must be sacrificed to power the sun. Otherwise, the world dies.
Sacrifice a god?
The sacrifice is my duty. But this cult leader will take my place and attempt to become the god. He believes we can remake the world and live in a paradise of his design.
Belief in Unuratu's birthright, not her burden, is one that is widely held by the people of Patiti. This part will become even more important in just a few moments.
Chenten yanten umuki lingualic, usasik sipile, sokukuchu lukin le olal, unahuchiva lunuratu, ukupki mesikukulkan, tialusud lekino, makulpachi. Yoksale tukulobello, kukimesalu yabili, leolal bakan mishmaktik baltikov.
That's all I know.
Do any of those...
Croft repeatedly proves that Unuratu's first instincts were correct and that she, like Trinity, is not to be trusted. Her words suggest that she sees the people and protectors of Patiti as primitive and animalistic, a notion that Unuratu herself quickly addresses.
Desperate.
I would not call them creatures. They're more than that.
Regardless of what misgivings she may have had about Lara and her intentions and beliefs, Unuratu is quickly placed in a situation where she has no choice but to trust that Lara will make the right decision when faced with a choice. After being shot by Commander Rourke, who is canonically an ex-U.S. Special Forces soldier who now works for Trinity, this part drips with imperialism, a dying Unuratu calls upon Lara to pass her amulet to her son, who must now become the rightful ruler in her stead, which she does.
He's the rightful heir. He must lead Paititi.
He's young, but strong. His spirit as noble as his blood.
Don't go, keep talking to me.
The box, it will tempt you. Resist. We all create our destiny.
Despite the prophecy that claims that the ritual sacrifice must be carried out by a member of Unuratu's line, Lara goes after the leader of Trinity, Amaru, who has become the god Kukulkan, and murders him. She agrees to his dying wish to protect Paititi, and with that agreement, she is further burdened by the people of Paititi.
Protect Paititi. Please, Lara.
When Amaru passes the key of Shakshel to her, interestingly enough, the artifact that she started the apocalypse with by stealing at the beginning of the game, he also passes on his godhood, and Lara Croft becomes a god. She becomes a god. In this moment, she not only robs Unuratu and her line of their birthright, but she becomes a literal white savior.
When the catastrophes come, the god Kukulkan must be sacrificed to power them.
Lara, now the host of Kukulkan, is sacrificed by the Yakshil priestess known as the Crimson Goddess, who the prophecy and Unuratu's tattoos told her would guide her in any moments of weakness. The Yakshil are the same people she has referred to as creatures throughout the game.
Fails me, the crimson fire will guide me and hold me to my promise.
I like this world. It's not perfect. But everything I love now is in it.
After today, the eclipse will no longer represent us. We keep the sun, but you remove the shadow.
Protect Paititi. Please. Please, Lara.
An ancient prophecy and a ritual sacrifice cannot keep Lara Croft down. She is stronger than primitive magic, and she survives the ritual in some undisclosed way, saves the world, and becomes the messianic figure that seems to be her destiny from the very beginning. Shadow of the Tomb Raider ends with a moment of introspection by Lara Croft that occurs not at a campfire, but behind the desk of her father in her ancestral home, surrounded by ancient artifacts that he too has stolen over the years. Magic Colonizer Fingers have robbed these artifacts of everything they had to offer: their knowledge, their magic, and their very presence among the people who valued them. As the camera pans to Lara, we see that she has stolen the silver box of Ixchel, and here it serves as a paperweight. It, like the other artifacts in Croft Manor, is designed to be manipulated by the fingers of Lara Croft to serve its mundane purpose. This is her legacy, the legacy of the Crofts, a legacy of colonialism.